back to The Real Experience. Today I have two wonderful guests, my grandparents, and I can't wait to start this podcast with them and get to hear their story. Before we start, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. It really means a lot to me. With that said, let's get into the podcast. So, Mamo, Papo, thank you guys so much for coming on to my podcast. It's really great that you guys said yes to this. So I just want to start out with some easy questions, and then we might get into some really thought-provoking questions. So the first thing I want to know about you guys is what is your earliest memory from your childhood?
Our memories of what?
Your childhood.
Your earliest
Your
memory.
earliest memory that you can think of from your childhood.
You remember down when your mom was working down south.
Yeah, I can remember when she was working down south. I wasn't in school yet,
Okay, tell him that.
so I wasn't in school. I hadn't even transferred to Bologna then. But
How old were you when you?
I remember when I was 5, we moved into the Wheeler house on the hill, and but I lived in Jeffersonville for a while.
We were both born in 1939. This was the beginning of the war. And his mom worked at a defense factory down there.
Nice.
And she was separated. So he was young. He was very young there. And he had somebody that took care of him while she worked.
What's one rule in your house that would shock people today?
I remember a lot of what my dad would say a lot of times. It wasn't a rule. It was the way kind of things were that whenever I would ask sometimes to do something that I thought, well, maybe it was maybe I didn't want to go to church that evening or wanted to do something else. And his answer when I would ask that, he would always say, you do what you think you should do. And if I chose to not do it, he never questioned that or anything. That was just the way it was. But you were more inclined to do what you thought you really should do.
Did you think before you acted? I like that one. What about you, Gramps? What was a rule in your house that would shock people today?
Shock people today?
Yeah, a rule.
You mean about what I did as a living, or?
No, honey.
Any kind of
rule
in
your mom
home?
had.
Oh, my mom.
Your mom, a rule.
Well, we lived in Jeffersonville. She worked at the bag plant at the powder company down there during the war.
But a rule.
Huh?
A rule that she made.
That she made? Well, she didn't put up with much. We lived in Jeffersonville, and she had a brother that was in the World War, and he went through Pearl Harbor, and Mom came back to Bologna to take care of him and brought me with her. And we lived in the west end of Bologna down there. You know, when Joe got out of the hospital.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What did you fear most as a kid?
Did I fear more?
Yeah, what did you fear most as a kid?
I probably felt pretty secure. You know, I suppose I had some of the dark and what was out there or something like that fears, but as far as my care and I always had love around me and everything, that I didn't have great fears.
I didn't have a lot of fears of anything growing up like that. I didn't have anything in Bologna to be feared about. Oh, my goodness, we used to play bicycle things till late at night. I mean, 8, 9 o'clock at night, we'd still be out riding our bicycles, painting parks and things.
Nice.
Yeah, down in the West End.
What value did your parents teach that stayed with you today? A
Did
value.
my parents?
What value did your parents teach that stayed with you?
Not understand what he wants.
I'll say something. I was raised with a lot of love and a lot of love around me. And so the value of having a lot of love is there's things that are expected of you, and you don't talk about it. You just react according to what the Bible says and what they expect out of you, and you try to do this.
What about for you, Gramps? Do you have any lesson or a value that your parents instilled in you that you still keep today?
Values that I value today.
Yeah.
Well, I learned how to take advantage of my abilities.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I could go out and work, and I could make a living for myself. But and as I got married, I found advantage of taking care of that.
Yeah.
Advantages was work.
Yeah.
You learned work ethic.
Yeah, I had
and
a
you
good
just
guy.
knew
I was a
that
tool maker,
Yeah.
and I could make about anything that the company wanted.
That's amazing. What do you wish that your family understood about you at that time, back when you were a kid? Something that you wish they understood about you? Is there anything, if not anything, we can
I can't think of anything in particular. They probably were pretty well understood me.
What about you, Chris?
I don't know what she really wants.
Probably. I doubt if there was expectations.
Nothing.
That.
Okay, so today I want to talk about your school life. So what was your school really like back then? Because obviously school now is way different than it was before your time.
You're talking about her.
Both of you guys.
You can say.
What was your school like back
School life?
Yeah, school life. Tell me about a day in school.
I never cared for anybody, overly in love with anybody in church. I liked all the teachers. I don't remember one of them I didn't care for. But my gosh, I had a farmer out here that picked me up, and I'd come out of the school at night and bring me out, and we'd work till after dark sometimes. Mick.
There was a lot of respect for teachers. There was no talking back, and you knew that if you were aware, you didn't even have to think about it. That if you did things that we weren't supposed to do, that you would be accountable at home also, as far as being there. But it was a matter of respect, a lot of respect, I suppose, in teachers. And of course, you had I wasn't around any high rich people, but there were some people that definitely had a lot less than we had, and there was an awareness that some people didn't have it as easy as you did.
Yeah. What was the biggest trouble? Was there a time in school you got in trouble that your parents knew about, or did you skip any classes, or was that ever a thing back then? Did you guys skip school?
Did you ever skip any classes?
I don't remember skipping any classes.
Did you ever get in trouble?
Honestly, don't. Pardon me?
Did you ever get in trouble in school?
Well, I don't know that I never got in any trouble or anything. I probably irritated some teachers, but they never, any of them kicked me out of school or anything. So
I suppose the biggest trouble I got into was usually talking when I wasn't supposed to or something. And I remember one time that, it was like for Judy, I remember they said she had this one teacher and she always talked to. And she said, and she would move her to someplace else. And she said, it doesn't make any difference where I move you. that is your new best friend. And I suppose I like to talk.
I could definitely see
And
that for you.
I can remember one time that back in school then, grandparents and moms and stuff would come and visit school.
Mhm.
They would come and visit school. And I remember one time, it was my grandmother had come to visit my class. And I thought, well, she's here, and so the teacher will not say anything if I talk when I'm not supposed to.
Yeah.
And so I did that. And I had to stay in that recess with my grandmother there.
I'm sure that the family heard about them when you got home, didn't they?
Well, I don't remember them, what they did or anything, but probably, yeah, I'm sure they laughed probably.
So what was dating like back then? How did people date back then?
Well, back in our time, we're talking about, we graduated in 57. So dating then, I suppose, was a lot going to the show. You went to the show. That was,
Was that like a drive-in theater show?
there
or-
was, well, in the summertime, the drive-in theater. And I remember that 50, at one time it was 50 cents to get in
Gosh.
to the car. So people climbing in the trunk and stuff so that they could get in and not have to pay. So you'd have as many people in the car as you could get in. And but as far as dating, that if there was any kind of a social thing in the community, I suppose you might go to, but it's pretty well that or sports. Mm-hmm.
What about for you, Gramps? Was the same, would you say?
Pardon me?
Would you say the same for your dating life back then too?
Well,
Yeah. How were boys expected? How were boys expected to treat women back then?
you talk.
You.
Tell me again.
How were guys supposed to have treated women back then?
Guys?
Yeah, boys your age.
Oh, I never had much trouble with any guys. No, with Bologna boys, we usually just always got along.
There was a respect, probably more respect now for the opposite sex than what there is now. And as far as thinking about that person rather than what they can do for me or what I can get out of them,
Yeah.
that there was more of a personal respect.
So when did you know you guys wanted to get married to each other? Or first, before I ask that, how did you guys meet?
You talking to her or
Both
me?
of you guys. And I want to hear both sides. Your side and how you met Grandma, and then Grandma, how Grandma met you.
Well, I knew I was going to try to look at her again when I saw her.
When did you first see her? I should ask.
When did I first see her?
Mm-hmm.
Well, somebody downtown asked me if I'd ever seen the youngest preacher's daughter. And I said no, but enough people have asked me that I'm definitely going to try. And when school started, and I think it was Carolyn came up to me and said, Larry, I know somebody that wants to go with you. And she told me that it was a preacher's daughter. And I said, well, I think that might work out.
That was his cousin. Mm-hmm.
And what year was that? What year in high school was that?
Pardon?
Must have been 56.
Oh, I meant like
Junior.
A junior year. Okay. Is that how you met Gramps in school?
See, I was moved there for my junior year. So I was there for junior and senior at Bologna.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Freshman and sophomore, and 7th and 8th, I was at Guilford, Indiana, which is near Lawrenceburg. Mm-hmm.
And when did you guys know you wanted to marry each other?
It probably happened gradually. We dated a lot of years because, of course, when I graduated, I worked the year. And then I went to nursing, so that was 3 more years. But we got married my senior year, and it just happened gradually that you recognized that you were in love with them.
Now tell me about your on the day of your wedding. That's quite a story I've heard.
We were both sick. I was nauseated, and I had cramps, and he was vomiting, and so it definitely was not a feel good day. Mm-hmm.
Did anybody in the family think, oh no, this marriage isn't going to last because of that?
No, we dated so long that I remember my parents said, well, if you don't know each other by now, you're never going to know each other. Mm-hmm.
Gramps, how were you feeling that day? Besides sick, getting married to Grandma?
Well, I liked what I saw. I thought I was going to try. I didn't know if I'd have any success or not.
So what was the hardest part of being, young and married back then?
Hardest part?
Yeah, being married, being a young married couple.
Well, you had to find a job where you could support a family.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And he had TB, so he, after
a spot.
Can you tell people what TB is?
Tuberculosis, and he had contacted that from his stepdad had that, so of course he lived with it, and so he had TB, so he was in bed for 9 months. At that time, he was working. He had been working at Cummins, and then I got out of school, and then I was working at the hospital.
And you were working in the hospital doing what?
Nursing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When did you get into surgery nurse?
Oh, it's really, nursing is taking care of the people.
Okay.
I work medical surgical. I occasionally, very occasional, would work OB, and then there was an opening or something for surgery, and someone suggested that I try that. So I worked. I always worked part-time because we had kids, mm-hmm. and so I usually worked 3 days a week, 2 or 3 days a week, and so I worked there. And then when Stephanie, our youngest one, was a baby, that was the fourth one. So I was pretty busy, and I had quit work and hadn't gone back to work. One thing different about that time was I worked at the hospital, and like I said, I worked 2 or 3 days a week. And when I would take maternity leave, then they would call me and say, are you ready to come back to work again? Are you ready? When will you be ready to come back to work? And of course, that wouldn't happen now. You would apply again. Yeah. But this is the way it was. And then when I was on one of my maternity leaves, the last one was Stephanie, there was a family practitioner called, and he said, would you be, since I hadn't gone back to work, would you be interested in working in my office? He said, you could work whenever you wanted to. Mm-hmm. He happened to have children about the same age, so he knew about what my life was. Yeah. And he said, you can work when you want to. And I said, well, I will talk about it. And so then I worked for him for probably about 14 years. And then a friend of mine that worked in surgery, she had called me, and she said, if you ever think that you might want to come back to surgery, she said, now is the time, because they have a job posted that I don't know anybody else in the hospital will fill the criteria, but you could probably get right back on. So I decided I would go back to the hospital. And so then I went back to surgery again, and because that was where the opening was. And so then I worked there for 10 years then. And I had a friend of mine, well, whenever she heard I was going to go back to the hospital and go back to surgery, she had worked there before when I worked in surgery. And she said, if you're going back, I'm going back. And so I thought, oh dear, they'll probably, since she's already an employee there, they'll probably won't hire me. But they did. So,
both of you
mhm.
guys.
Well, she was already working there.
Gotcha.
They just moved her to surgery when I went. Mhm.
Now, Gramps, you had mentioned you worked at Cummins, and what kind of, and you said you were a tool maker. What kind of tools did you make for
What
Cummins?
kind of work did I do?
Yeah.
Well, I was lucky. I got into
Apprentice.
I was teaching how to make
Trade
tools.
Yeah.
Tool maker. I got put under the famous old newsman that could ever. He knew everything about it, and he knew how to teach. His name was Lee Walesby, and he enjoyed, I think, having me because I could teach him, or he could teach me what I could do. And my gosh, after that, I don't know how many they put under me at Cummins, you know.
He initially worked for Cummins Engine Company on the in production, and then they had an apprentice program for tool makers, and so he applied for that, and then he went through the apprentice program, and then he was a tool maker, and he taught many people.
Nice. What would you say? What was the biggest financial struggle you guys remember during, like, when you guys were both working, and just during that time period?
We were always frugal. We were always frugal. I don't remember ever missing a payment on anything, but when I say we were frugal, we were aware of how much money we had, and we didn't live above where we were.
What norms existed then that wouldn't work today?
Oh, it's hard to say that.
Anything?
I'm sure there is, but I don't know what to say there.
I couldn't understand what he said.
What are some, like, norms back then that wouldn't exist
Like
today?
noise?
Norms.
Norms. Oh, okay. Oh, goodness, I don't know. Never paid any attention to it.
You just kind of adjust to where you are, and as times change, then you accommodate to make it work in your life.
Mm-hmm.
So,
what did people respect that isn't respected now?
there was probably definitely a greater respect for elders than there is now, and for authority. Like I said, there was respect for teachers, and they expected it. Our parents expected us to be respectful, and you reacted according to what was expectations of you, and you learned. And now when you hear about all the talking back in schools and how kids say that won't do this and they won't do that, I won't say that didn't happen. I'm sure it happened, but it wasn't prevalent like it is now.
Yeah. What belief from your time turned out to be wrong? A belief back then that, is, like, not here anymore. If that makes sense.
I know what you're saying, but
is there anything you would think of?
I suppose that to say that cut and dry, that would be a beginning and an end.
Yeah. And
you're changing. You are accommodating to where you are and in your life and everything. So it's not like a beginning and an end.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What news event changed how you saw the world? Is there anything that happened, either before your kids were born or after your kids, or after your grandkids were born? Any time period?
I lived, of course, we lived during the war, and I lived on a farm, and living on a farm was not like probably the way he lived, because living on a farm, they had gas allowances, and they had, we had a garden, we had all the food, we canned, we froze, we had everything that we really needed, and I didn't I knew there were stamps that you used to get food and stuff, but I don't ever remember not having. And I know that there were several young people that lived with my grandparents off and on because of hardships in their families.
What about you, Gramps? Was there a
Even though you lived on a farm, I worked on a farm
Mm-hmm.
all summer long.
yeah?
No.
So this is kind of like the last few questions I have. What are you proud? What is something you are proud of that survived today? You know, it could be anything. Whether it's a belief, a value.
I suppose that I'm definitely pleased that our marriage has lasted. This will be 65 years.
Coming on Wednesday.
Coming on Wednesday. And it's not because that there are not hardships in marriage. There is. And sometimes it would be easier to get out than to work things through. But I don't ever remember either one of us ever leaving at night or something because of a disagreement. And you're two different individuals, and you came from someplace different, and you are going to have some different ideas. And so you just have to learn to work through what your differences are.
What about you, Gramps? Is there anything you're proud that survived?
What do you
Value?
say?
Is there anything?
Values?
Yeah, value that
Something
survived.
that you're proud of that
Something that you're
survived
proud
in
of.
your life.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think I've ever had anything really get away from me, or I don't think I've ever done anything terribly wrong to harm anybody either.
One thing I'll say for sure that anybody in our situation couldn't help but be so thankful to have family, and the family that we had, and the family that our immediate family, and what the girls have turned out to be, and the love and stuff that they share, and the willingness they are to try to help us and everything. And this doesn't always happen. It's a big thing to be thankful for when you look around and see some of the situations of other people.
What is something you would tell your younger self that you wish you could tell your younger self? Now,
Probably at one time, I was thinking about maybe going into real estate, and I probably would have been good at that. But
you would have been great at it.
but the thing is, you need to be ready to do a change in your life if you need to, or you want to.
What about you, Gramps? What's something you would tell your younger self if you had that chance?
You mean things I've done to make a living or something?
Anything.
Well, I went to Cummins Engine Company up there, and I didn't want to just keep working out in the factory.
Yeah.
I went into the tool making project
Yeah.
and learned to be a tool maker. And then I could teach a lot of people to make tools. And I did teach a lot of people to make
And
tools.
not only does tool making teach how to make tools, it teaches you to learn and to do so many things in life. Just through the years, if I didn't want something or wanted something done around the house or something, I just told him, and he figured it out and did it.
Didn't he build that playhouse?
He built the playhouse for the kids.
For the kids. And Gramps, I want to ask you something. You used to fix pianos. How did you get, tuning pianos and fixing them? How did you get into that?
I don't tune pianos. I can fix a piano.
Okay.
But tuning pianos, I just never messed with learning it.
He wonders how you started.
When did you
to do that.
start getting into the fixing pianos?
Fixing pianos?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's been a long time ago.
I remember how this happened. the girl that was my roommate through nursing, they lived down at Nashville, and we went to visit them, and they had a player piano, and we both liked it. And when we got home, Larry said, I think I can do that. And so he got a book, and he started rebuilding player pianos.
That's amazing. And now all 4 sisters have a player piano.
They've all been given.
I rebuilt several players.
Yeah.
He rebuilt 20-some.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And all you had to do was read a book.
Mm-hmm. Well, it wasn't just, I mean,
Well,
it was
you
a lot of
could look
work.
at-
It took many, many hours. And
You could
Really?
look at it and kind of compare things, you know. And,
but that was part of the tool making. You know, you learned how to do things.
So I got a question for you guys. When the internet first came out, what were your initial thoughts about that and technology and how much it's had advanced?
It
I
wasn't,
built a lot of them, but I could still go out there and build one.
it wasn't a part of our lives. And so really, probably at first, I just didn't even pay that much attention to it. But I learned what I needed to learn because this was part of my job.
Yeah.
We turned to computers, and so that's why I learned.
Now, before that, you guys used typewriters back then.
We used typewriters, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Gramps, I know technology. When the internet first came out, I assume you guys probably didn't really have use for that because you guys were building tools and whatnot.
I'm not understanding what you mean. I was a tool maker
Yeah, so when
I went to Cummins,
Yeah.
and I taught a lot of tool makers how to build a player piano or a regular piano, just tune it.
I can't tell you how much of his would have been computer, but
Yeah.
if computers was in Cummins, and so I'm sure he had some of it. But their machinery would have been some computer stuff.
Mhm.
But as far as like you're talking about,
Yeah,
and
like-
computers,
we
No.
have the mass amounts of technology. I mean, look at the iPhones we
Mhm.
have, the laptops, MacBooks.
and
guys-
you eat it up.
Yeah.
And me, I just use it as I need to. But
Yeah.
it's not. I don't have that obsession that you have. You don't see it in my hand all the time.
What's a favorite food you guys liked as a kid?
What's the what?
Favorite food you liked as a kid?
Favorite food?
Mm-hmm.
That probably varies from week to week.
Back then, it's not like it is. I mean, we weren't, like I said, we never did without anything. But now young people don't think anything about spending $6, $10 for a sandwich or something. Well, we didn't even have pop at our house unless it was special.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we didn't, if you went, my grandparents would take us sometimes on the weekend to Hope, and they'd get us ice cream or something. Now that was big.
Yeah.
And when my dad would come home from the Navy during the war, when he would come home, Mother would get a box of Mound candy bars. So we didn't have the things there wasn't chips.
Yeah.
And we didn't have all the stuff that you spend so much money on now.
Yeah. What's a cheap thing that felt like a luxury? I guess you kind of answered that. Pop and ice cream.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, we didn't consider it was, we weren't superfluous and redundant about how we spent money.
Yeah.
We spent money sparingly, and so we figured that cost enough.
Yeah.
But mhm.
What's a song that defined your youth?
A song that what
Defined your youth. A song that defined your youth.
defines me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
defined your youth when you were a kid or growing up.
Goodness sakes, I wouldn't have any idea of that.
I can't think of a particular
I wouldn't
song
think
or
anybody
anything.
could
I
Is there something that was popular back in the radios then?
well, of course, my Mom, she played the piano too, and radio was really big in our lives. That we sat around the radio at night the way people sit and watch television.
Yeah.
And so, it was just a different life. And it wasn't all bad, and I'm sure a lot of things are better now, but it definitely was not all bad.
I guess something I wanted to ask. You know how politics is a huge thing now. What was that like back in your day growing up as a
What
kid?
was what?
Politics. Like
Politics.
in the home and just in general.
There were always Democrats and Republicans, but it was a matter of time back then in Congress, in even in our lives, that people were more tolerant of someone else believing differently than you did. They didn't have to kill them, or they didn't have to fight them. They could listen to what they thought and go ahead and make your decision.
What about for you, Gramps?
I couldn't tell you.
But politics was big. I had an uncle that was, he was a mayor of Columbus and sheriff of Columbus, and an uncle that was in state representative. And then my grandfather and stuff, they had local political offices and things. So politics was a part
Of your family.
part of our family. But I never remember that it was, it definitely was not pushed into me that you have to be this party.
Yeah.
And you have to think the way they think. You can think and make decisions.
Yeah. Gramps, you used to hunt a lot.
Yeah.
You want to tell me a story about your hunting trips and all that? What kind of hunting you did back then?
Well, I did a lot of hunting. I did rabbit hunting, squirrel hunting, deer hunting.
What would you say is your favorite kind of hunting?
Well, hunting's hunting. You know, if you like to hunt, you like to hunt. I've killed a lot of everything that I just mentioned.
Turkey.
Turkey
Yeah.
too. You have a big picture of a turkey in your garage.
Squirrels good eating, bass or rabbits were good eating, a deer's good eating.
Okay, I gotta ask about the squirrel because I've never had squirrel. What did that taste like?
It's good.
It's good.
Mm-hmm.
What would you compare it to? Like chicken?
It's, I don't know.
What's that?
What would
Squirrel.
you compare squirrel to?
What would I say?
What meat would you compare it to?
Prefer?
Compare it to.
Oh, well, I don't know. I'd compare it to squirrel, rabbit, and rifle.
Back in and like I said, during the war, I do remember that my dad was the oldest of 5 children, and that one of them was a big hunter, and that hunting was the squirrels, the rabbits, stuff. This was a big part of what they sustained on, because there wasn't a lot of extra. So this was something they lived on. So it was a way of life. Mm-hmm.
All those meats are kind of compared to the way whether it's good or not good is the way you fix it.
How would you fix it? How would you
Well,
fix? Like, give me an example of how you'd fix the deer. Give me.
Well, I don't know. A lot of times you can just completely fry it, and it's good. Yeah.
He would cut up his own deer, and you did sometimes have it done, didn't you?
If I was just too lazy to go do it or something,
yeah.
I would. But I have cut them and wrapped them too.
Yeah, and he liked the wild taste of deer better than me. Now squirrel and rabbit, yeah, but deer I wasn't as crazy about.
Now,
Mhm.
who taught you how to like skin the deer? Did someone teach you how to do that, or did you learn that yourself?
Pardon me?
Who taught you how to skin a deer and do the things you knew?
See, forget who it was, Mary. It wasn't somebody out here at T-Mars, but it was somewhere. It wasn't some. It wasn't a T-Mar, but it was somewhere out there on T-Mars. A guy that lived there on that hill or something.
That taught you?
I forget what his name was, but
I don't know.
he taught it. He taught it. I was not very old.
He hunted from the time he was, in fact, the first job he had, he saved for, how old were you when you got your first gun?
Tell me that again.
How old were you when you got your first gun?
Oh, I don't know. Not very old.
Oh, I thought you would remember, because I remember he worked one summer. And
I probably bought my first one when I was 13.
Yeah, there.
Wow,
Mhm.
that's young. Now you have to be
Yeah.
18.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But he was responsible.
Yeah.
And yeah. Yep.
Is there shoot, I just lost that question I was going to ask you. You also did like competitive shooting, didn't you, Gramps?
What'd you say?
Trap shooting.
Trap shooting.
Trap shooting?
Yeah. How many years did you do that?
How old was that?
How
How many years?
Oh, I don't know. I didn't go early on that, Arlen. I went like when I got a little earlier, and had taken a old run up there at the gun club every once in a while, and they had a nice shooting range. Yeah.
People he met from work. That's probably how he got in it. But he shot trap for years.
For years.
And has good friends from there.
Yeah. Now you guys grew up with dogs. What would you say? Which of the dogs were your favorites?
He was the biggest dog lover. The favorite dog.
Your favorite dog that you had growing up, or
The biggest dog?
favorite dog?
Favorite dog?
Yeah.
Well, I had a lot of nice dogs. It'd be hard to pick a, you know.
You remember all their names?
Oh no, Corky, Magic. Oh my gosh, there's a
Squirt,
bunch of.
Mac.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Max.
It's a lot of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of dogs. I've very seldom ever been without one.
When Squirt died, he said he couldn't take care of them anymore.
Yeah.
And he was the one that did everything for them. And they absolutely adored him.
Corky, Tammy, Visor.
Can you tell the story about how you found Squirt?
Pardon me?
Can you tell me the story about how you found Squirt, my viewers? Squirt.
Tell him what.
Do you remember when you got Squirt? How you got Squirt?
Squirt?
He came through the porch.
I don't think I ever had another one after Squirt, did I?
You did, but
Did I?
Did it come through the porch?
how'd you get Squirt? How did you end up
Did
having
somebody
Squirt?
drop him off here? He doesn't remember, but I think that was what happened.
You think it was a gift here?
I think someone left it and it came here.
I was thinking
came
he
here.
was out of a rook or a, you know,
Well,
I'm pretty sure he was.
okay. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. He has had them where they've just been dropped off, you know, in different places. And
Which one would you say was the best hunting dog you've had?
The best hunting dog?
Yes.
Oh, probably Corky. He could get about anything.
Which one was the easiest to train?
Well, I don't know. He's not a lab or anything like that. He was just a regular dog. Yeah, but he could do about what I told him to do. And my gosh, I was trapping down the swamp then, and he'd go with me down there. Well,
Is there anything you want to tell my viewers? Any advice you'd give them?
pardon me?
Is there any advice you would give people today if you saw them?
Oh, no, I'd say they've got their own mind to make up. Not me.
What about you, Gramps?
Oh, I'm thankful, so thankful for the heritage I have. Um, like I said, the family and my memories of my childhood with my grandparents living right down the road. And every Sunday, the kids came home, their kids came home, and the local newspaper would call every Sunday and say, "Who's there today?" And then it would come out in the paper who was there.
That's funny.
And there was always a lot of people there. You could hardly get through the living room because the guys would play rook. And my grandmother was, she was the Indiana Mother of the Year one year. And
Tell us about how that happened.
well, like I had said, you know, their daddy was a minister, and he had been a farmer, and then he was a minister. And then Uncle Tom was a teacher and a farmer. And Uncle Ray was a farmer and a teacher, and he was also a state representative. And Uncle Dick was in politics, and he was the one that was a mayor of Columbus and the sheriff of Columbus, and he farmed also. And then Uncle Lindy was the youngest boy, and he was a minister also, and then he was a business owner. And then in between they had one girl, and that was Aunt Alice, and she was a nurse. Mm-hmm. So education was always important because my grandfather and grandmother had both taught earlier, and so yeah, it was a lot of love and a lot of family time. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Well, I think that's all the questions I have for you guys. Thank you guys so much for coming on and talking to me. It's great to knowing your story and just listening to things that you guys grew up with that I didn't have. And I'm sure my viewers would love that too. If you guys like this, make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.